All right, hello everyone. My name is Marsh, and I'm clearly not Meg, but welcome to plantfitmeg's channel. I'm kind of doing a takeover thing right now. I'm Meg's partner, and Meg is really not feeling the best. Just cold, that heavy-duty fall cold that many of us get. So here we go. You get to spend a little bit of time in this world. I still get Meg's background, so we're comfortable. I like to have tea. I like to keep it very relaxed. We're going to kind of do a little chat time. It's mostly about how I became vegan. So I wasn't like Meg. I didn't do it their way. Meg did it right overnight. And what happened was they watched documentaries, and obviously we were very concerned about our new child's life and what we were going to feed that person. Later to be Riordan, of course. And Meg was just like, I'm doing this. And it was like an overnight transition with this whole juicing for several days to do the transition thing, which all to me seemed super hardcore, like way too much too fast. So of course Meg talks to me about this. She says, babe, this is what I'm learning. This is what I'm reading. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm thinking will be best for the kiddo. And for me. And as you may or may not know from previous videos, Meg has kind of gone through how she's a cancer survivor and has had other chronic health conditions over the years. So this was a way for her to really take a step and take control more so of their own health, right? So back to how I went about it. I went about it very gradually. And in the beginning, I thought, no, I don't think I ever will. I'll eat this way at home for the most part, probably, just to make it easier. But Meg wasn't putting any pressure on it at all. Like, no pressure. It was very much like we're willing to make multiple types of meals if we want to. She wasn't like, you can't cook meat in the house because it smells weird or anything like that. And even from like an educational standpoint, like she knew I wasn't going to read about this stuff in the beginning. To be honest, up until more recently, it's never been my way of learning is to really read and have internal motivation to do that. But, every now and again, Meg would be like, well, I watched this cool documentary. If you want to check it out, this is kind of what it was about. You might find it interesting, but no pressure, right? And it was more an opportunity, or as I saw it, to learn more for Riordan's sake, knowing that I wanted him to have the best possible kind of step up on life that we could possibly offer from a health and dietary perspective, right? And in every way, as we all wish for our children, I'm sure. Hold please for tea. Enjoying some Earl Grey today in case you're curious. Damn good. As I said, no pressure. So I started watching these things. The big ones for me were Cowspiracy. Oh, that one was super messed up. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Forks Over Knives is certainly huge. I think that was the first one, really. It's been the first one for so many people that I've met or talked to that have even been remotely curious about plant-based eating or vegan lifestyle, any of these things. So they impacted me pretty heavy, but even still, it wasn't a quick transition. For months after Meg had made the decision and Riordan was already consuming like plant-based or vegan foods, I was still eating things outside of the house. Like I would have Mac Attacks. Like I had to go get a Big Mac. I remember the last one I ate. It was like, 3 months into mostly eating plant-based, and it just made me feel disgusting, like so gross. And I've always had stomach issues, gut health issues, super sensitive to dairies and cheeses, but I love those things. So even before learning about plant-based, I was looking into lactose-free options or kind of non-dairy options to help with that. But when I ate that last Big Mac, and I felt really gnarly, and I had already watched Supersize Me years ago, which obviously was pretty eye-opening just to the whole McDonald's thing. But yeah, that was kind of the moment. That was kind of I think, really, the big one for me where I was like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth not feeling well after eating something that momentarily makes me feel good, right? So yeah, that was that. That was it. There were still lingering things like chocolate was a big one, I remember. Like, I was still pretty hooked on caramel bars for a while. So all said and done, I would say it was like a good 5-6 months, really, until kind of everything was fully non-dairy. No meat for quite some time prior to that, and then I started to notice these things that became of real value to me, right? Like, certainly I valued Riordan's health and Meg's health. Obviously, I love them. They're my family, and that's above all really going to be peak. But then it came to me, and I started feeling less gut health issues. I never felt heartburn again. I was pretty commonly heartburned. I don't know if you can say it that way, but I would commonly experience heartburn. And then it got to a point where I realized I was never having heartburn anymore. And then I realized I feel a little bit more energy without drinking as much caffeine, because I've always been a heavy-duty caffeine person. And the other big one was there's just kind of this sense of calm. My mind is a million miles a minute most of the time. Most of the time, I don't let people in on that side of myself, but what I found with changing my diet and reducing the amount of processed foods in general was very much a sense of calm. It was a little bit cooler. It was a little bit easier to bring myself to learn new things, right? So that really spurred me on to learning more about plant-based eating, vegan lifestyle. I'm not big on being preachy. I'm always happy to talk about it, right? Meg's suggestion for this video, which is actually quite helpful, was to imagine that I'm speaking to a friend or a colleague or whatever that's genuinely curious about how I eat. So, and why I made that choice, right? So yeah, this is kind of my 2 cents worth. Eggs kind of really gnarly me out now, and it was something I used to love eating, and it was one of the first things that I stopped buying when I was making that transition. Whew. I feel like I've been a little bit all over the place, so just to recenter us, the big ones for me were finding out that I could still enjoy many things that were kind of my peak favorites, but in a plant-based meal. And Meg was great for that. Also because we didn't know how to cook very much, but it was like chilies, soups, and pasta sauces. I love pasta, huge on pasta. And then later on, it was even more things, like you can make your own sausages. Oh, okay, that was a big one. I was always big on Italian sausages, really any type of sausage. And then, and then I learned what was in them, and I was like, no. But I still loved that. I call it a sandwich. Actually, that's a big one. Put it in your comments. Some people like to vote on these things or take tallies. Is a sausage a sandwich? Like a hot dog thing? Is it a sandwich, or is it totally its own thing? Anyway, let me know. Or let Meg know. Or let y'all converse amongst yourselves. But anyway, I found Meg found the Geruti sausage recipe. That was a game changer, right? So it was finding those things that I know I love and still being able to either make them or get them in a reasonable way that doesn't put me in a category where I'm consuming, and for me now, one of my values, supporting that system of meat production, dairy production, etc. That was Cowspiracy. Cowspiracy, remember at the beginning? I said Cowspiracy whoa, that's messed up. That was that one. There also came a point when I'd kind of sorted out my food mentalities, right? It was a good while in, maybe a year or so in, and I realized that I was starting to really pay attention to things that kind of fall into vegan lifestyle a little bit more. So I started to realize that I felt, I don't know, discomfort using some of the products that I had previously really enjoyed that were made of animal byproduct or direct things like leather. So I started to donate or sell things like this heavy leather bag I had, or a couple jackets, things like these items. Just again, because I didn't feel, I think it was about supporting those industries again, came back to that for me. And then, yeah, there was a certain level of, I'm wearing a dead animal. And this doesn't speak to everybody, and I don't expect that, but that was how I felt, right? Other things that kind of started to hit on me more in a vegan lifestyle way was when I was buying new things, right? So whether it was replacing non-vegan things that I kind of needed a replacement for in my life. For instance, winter boots became a big thing at a point. But then there's other things, right? There was just kind of clothing over time as I wanted to change style maybe a bit. Things started to wear out. So I got really a lot more into thrift or secondhand buying. I was always kind of into it. Meg was too. We did for Riordan because it makes sense with your child, or makes sense to us because they grow up so quickly. But yeah, I got a lot more into thrifting. I think practically everything I own, with the exception of underwear and socks, those sorts of things, I buy thrift or secondhand in some respect. And then personal hygiene, grooming things. I pay a lot more attention to that. I think it's because I started to realize how animal testing works a little bit, and it was concerning, right? And really, for me, really impactful because I found some of the images pretty dramatic. So I started to move into vegan deodorants. So I use Earth's Own right now. It's pretty solid. I've used Schmidt's in the past. I like that one for quite a while. So definitely some good options. I felt they were pretty reasonable price points. You know, they're fairly comparable, maybe ever so slightly more than the typical things, the non-vegan products, I guess you would say. Shampoos. I don't know, I don't use a whole lot of personal grooming things. Like, I don't know, I use nail polish these days. That's a big thing I'll watch for. Shampoos, deodorants, toothpaste, toothbrush type things if I can. I try to be somewhat environmentally conscious / vegan conscious of. Anyway, it's mostly those things. I certainly noticed those. And I think now, I don't really, like, I'll make a point to search out buying vegan items when I'm buying brand new things. So again, just another way that over time, now like 8 or 9 years into eating this way, I certainly have found that more of my mental space, caring, conscious effort, social impact, environmental impacts, all these things have become much more important to me over the years. And I think that from, again, other people that I've met that have eaten this way for some time or made that decision to live the lifestyle for some time, after a while, especially quote unquote nowadays in 2024, the amount of options available, it's amazing. It's really, comparatively even to 8 years ago, it's a massive change in how our consumership has changed a little bit. But of course, once again, if you are anything like me and your mentalities are very much on it, there's a certain deep, dark issue there too. You know, you can look into that on your own time. Having said all this, I mean, all the food, all my thoughts, all the vegan lifestyle things, and how my whole really lifestyle changed around it and how it mattered more to me. Doesn't mean by any means that I'm perfect, that Meg's perfect, that our family operates in such a way where I never accidentally bring home something that has a random dried milk powder product or something that I missed on the ingredients, right? Or, I don't know, I've purchased shoes without fully realizing that some of the materials in them aren't fully vegan. And that happens. It kind of sucks. And sometimes I can come to terms with it, and other times I take other actions when I can't feel okay with that mistake or that choice or that decision. Anyway, I just don't want you guys or anyone to feel a great deal of pressure from themselves, which is really where I feel it the most, or from family or friends or loved ones or society or whatever it might feel. It's choose your own adventure. Go at your own pace. I think Meg says these things all the time. In fact, I know she does. It's choose your own adventure. Take it or leave it. You know? Love it. Do it. Right? Aspire to it. All of these things, however you choose to embrace them or not, entirely up to you. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I had fun. It was not nearly as awkward as I imagined. So please like the video, give it the thumbs up. Thank you for listening. Definitely had a great time. Hope it wasn't too weird having me come in, do the takeover thing. Maybe you got a little something from it. Take it, leave it, whatever. Subscribe. Subscriptions are cool. They help Meg support the channel and be able to continue to do this stuff that she does for all of us. Mad respect to her in every way for just coming on all the time as much as they can and trying to have fun with it and be supportive and open. I love that this space, whenever I include myself in it in comments, all those good places, it's very supportive. And I want you all to continue supporting that. Again, thanks very much. Have a great day. And hopefully I'll get to talk to you again soon. Bye.